think a lot of Bronco fans were envisioning a different running back. Omarion Hampton, one of the Ohio State guys, Henderson or Judkins. And it's taking a while for people to warm to the idea of RJ Harvey from Central Florida. Well, guys, does this endorsement help at all? Another running back who was considered to be on the smaller side of things, but who was very, very productive here in his time with the Broncos. And, of course, I'm talking about Philip Lindsay from The Drive, who had this yesterday to say about RJ Harvey.
I don't believe that RJ Harvey's going to be this guy that's getting 20 carries a game because of his stature. But if he's out there on every play and he's motioning out of the backfield and he's getting involved in the receiving game and he's a mismatch for linebackers that are 240 pounds and you're 200 pounds and you run a 4.4, like, it's all about explosive plays, not just the carries, not just the yards. How does it look? Are you winning games because of it? Are you moving the chains? Are you scary because you can be on the field any given moment? Any given moment you can take it to the house, whether you're a receiver or a running back. So I'm thinking like 770 yards rushing in, 400, let's just say 400 receiving, and that's another weapon for Bo Nix.
So he's 1,000 yards from scrimmage.
All purpose, yep.
Okay, Mark, for me, I hear that from Phil. I like that. I don't know what it's going to look like for him in the passing game because he didn't have a huge impact at Central Florida in the passing game. Sean Payton thinks he can have more of an impact in the NFL game. But I hear 700 yards rushing, and I say, whoa, that's way too low. I'm pitching a 1,000-yard guy rookie year, that type of production, because there's no one in front of him. He's going to be day one starter. And I think when Sean Payton, there's nobody else in that room to kind of rotate carries with. I mean, who's going to take carries away from this guy? If he's everything that they're telling us he's going to be, this guy, to me, is going to be a 15 to 25 carry a game guy. And that says to me 1,000 yards. Both should be better this year. The passing game should be better. We got a good offensive line. 700 yards rushing would be disappointing. If he stays healthy, would be disappointing for me, Mark.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think 1,000 yards anymore. What is that, like 55 yards
That's
a game or something?
Yeah.
I think 1,000 yards is a doable or reachable goal for Harvey. And then the other thing I think about is, I've asked different defense coordinators when Sean was coaching for New Orleans about defending Sean Payton's offense. And one of the things they always talked about was the level and the number of screens that you have to prepare for with Sean Payton. So a lot of catching the ball out of the backfield is not so much like, being Christian McCaffrey and lining up outside the numbers and running receiver routes. A lot of it is how many times can we get you in the screen game, and how many different screens do we have in any given game plan? And that's not like, I wouldn't assume, I've never done it. I've never caught, a ball coming out of a screen. But that's not like, that to me is not like being a legit kind of outside the numbers kind of, run a route guy. So I think those are a little bit easier to catch. So certainly you can get him involved in that. And I know Sean Payton has, a boatload of screens in any game plan that he puts together. So, yeah, I could see this guy having a really impactful season. But I'm with you, Stoke. 1,000 yards got to be the goal. It's got to be the goal, especially with 17 games now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you. I know he's a rookie, but the void at the running back position, it's been so bad. It's like, okay, what are we going to do? Have this guy coming off the bench? Are we going to give him 6 carries a game? What for who? Bidet, Estimé, McLaughlin. I mean, those guys had they all had opportunities last year. How'd they do with it?
You may think I'm trying to play I gotcha by saying that Alvin Kamara, in his rookie season with the Saints, rushed for 728 yards, the number that Phil's talking about. But they also had Mark Ingram on that team as well, and he rushed for 1,100 yards. So, and here's my question. Did you see enough from Audric Estimé to think this guy can make a significant jump in year 2 to be that I guess, Mark Ingram type power back to go along with the Kamara type, hopefully RJ Harvey type running back, Mark?
Did I see enough? No, he probably didn't get enough opportunity. I just go back to the film I watched coming out, and what a great kind of contact balance runner he was. What a great in between the tackles runner he was. And like I still think that guy's got a lot of talent. I still think that guy's got, a lot of growth. And obviously it's hard when you put the ball on the ground early because you're not going to get that many touches. You're not going to get that many opportunities. And so, that was one of the things that happened. But I also think that a year under your belt, he'll get the opportunities. And I think he can produce. So I don't know that it'll be a Mark Ingram, but I still think he can produce.
Yeah, I mean, no, I hadn't seen enough, no. But to Mark's point, he didn't get enough opportunities to really show himself. We saw the Kansas City game where he looked great. I mean, he was a closer that game. We all remember looking up in the fourth quarter. We're trying to beat Kansas City.
In Kansas City.
And who do they have in the backfield? The last drive, it's Estimé, and he was doing really well.
Had 14 carries for 53 yards that day.
Yeah.
Not.
But he did
But not
great
bad.
at the end of the game.
Yeah.
And then you look up against Buffalo, and I think he was inactive the last game of the year, the playoff game. I don't think he got a jersey. I think he was inactive. So, no, I haven't seen enough to think that he could be the second guy behind.
But you were also
Well, why are you
critical.
pointing your finger at me? Like he's just pointing his finger at me like, whoa, like the principal, the teacher. Like, you were the one that did this. Why do you keep talking in class? Why the finger?
Well, just be happy it's this finger.
Thanks a lot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he is wagging his finger at you, though.
That's the
right?
one that you were picking your nose with earlier.
No, I didn't. But if I did, it would have been this one. Okay. But anyway, you were critical of Sean's use of the running backs this past year. So is it fair to truly grade Estimé when a lot of Bronco fans and commentators were frustrated with the way that Sean used his backs?
That's fair. We'll see if he gets more opportunities this year then. But the ones that I saw him get, I just was thinking there would be more because, Estimé came into the league. He came in the league, he was going to be that big bruising running back. They can't tackle him, right? He broke so many tackles at Notre Dame, and I just didn't see that here. I saw a guy that was a little bit stiff. And so I don't know. He's 5'11", 227. I want to see Mike Allstott just running through folks.
Yeah, Stoke, one of the things that was different, though, like at Notre Dame, he ran in a really heavy counter scheme. So it was a real heavy kind of what we call gap scheme stuff. So it's a little bit different than – not that Sean Payton doesn't have gap scheme stuff in his game plan. Everybody does, a portion of it. But they majored at Notre Dame. They just kind of minored in it here. And that's what he ran better at Notre Dame. So it may be just the adjustment period of running a little bit more of the zone type of things as opposed to the straight gap stuff.
Well, hopefully that's the case then for him, right? And hopefully we do see that jump from year one to year two because that'd be great if we have a nice 1-2 punch between those guys. You also have Jaleel McLaughlin that you can kind of move all over the football field and really help you out in the passing game, be that home run hitter for you. But I don't think RJ Harvey's going to be like Kamara. You mentioned that because you said Ingram could be Estimé, and I mean
Kamara had 800 yards receiving in his rookie year. He was a 1,500.
RJ Harvey's a bowling ball too. I mean that's not Kamara. Kamara's more of a shifty guy. Not saying that Harvey's not. I think they're built differently. I don't think you're going to see the impact in the passing game from RJ Harvey.
Well,
we're built different.
Just a final thought on Estimé, and I know we just came off a draft cycle where, as Bronco fans, we're all paying attention to these running backs, and you certainly became familiar with some of the stats, the numbers that these running backs put up, correct? Well, I'll remind people that in his last year at Notre Dame, this is Notre Dame. This is Notre Dame playing a pretty tough schedule. They play their fair share of, decent opponents. They're not playing,
They also play
but they're not in the Mountain West.
Armies and
They're not,
Navies
but they're not playing CSU and San Diego State and Wyoming and Air Force like Ashton Genty was. Okay, I'll remind people that in his senior year, Audric Estimé ran for 1,300 yards, 1,341 yards and 18 touchdowns. I mean, you take some of the stats of these running backs that everybody was salivating for this year. I mean, that's what Estimé did his last year at Notre Dame. Not playing the weak sisters of the poor.
Well, but still, it's college and NFL. Some guys can do it, some guys can't. I mean, there's a
By
lot.
the-
There's a lot of guys that had great college careers that produce at a high level.
I
and
know.
They get to then. Well, it doesn't sound like they get to the NFL, and then you already crown.
Don't make-
Estimé's going to be the next. I don't know.
Don't make me
Barry
wag my,
Sanders.
Don't make me wag my finger again.
Hey, by the way, the one thing about Kamara that I think a lot of people, because he glides and he's so smooth, that dude is 5'10", 220. Like you don't. Like when I
Wow.
sat down with him, I was like, he's like a big dude. You didn't realize how big Kamara is because I think he's just such a glider and he's so smooth and he's so athletic. So he's a bigger dude than you think he is. And RJ Harvey is what, 5'8" and 205 or something like that. So a little bit different build on those two.
Okay. We'll give you a chance to react to that. Ramos